What's going on, everybody? This is G of Boxing Bros. In this video, I will discuss fights Anthony Joshua needs to take to rule over the heavyweight division and to shut up all of his alleged American haters. This will be similar to my Wilder Road to Redemption video. Please check out that video whenever you get a chance. I know many of you must think I hate Anthony Joshua because I like Deontay Wilder, but that's totally far from the truth, although I did try once or twice. Any level-headed Wilder fan has to acknowledge the skills AJ possesses, as well as the accomplishments he has achieved in such a short time. AJ took out Klitschko in his 19th fight. The same Klitschko who dominated the heavyweight division for a decade. The same Klitschko who beat undefeated Jennings, Pulev, and Povetkin, in addition to beating superstar David Haye. The same Klitschko who killed Apollo. The same Klitschko Wilder and Shelley refused to fight, even though Wilder was 30 fights deep in the game at this time. That alone earned my respect for Joshua. But in addition to that, Joshua revitalized the heavyweight division by being the unified WBA, IBF, WBO, and IBO champion. With his charm, humility, and brand sponsorships, he became the needed ambassador for the division. Combine that with the loud and boisterous antics of Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury as antagonists, we have a storyline that can produce mega fights for the heavyweight division. And for that, salute to you, AJ. However, criticism of AJ being too bulky with a glass chin by many Wilder supporters, YouTube channels, and boxing analysts grew legs in AJ's first loss against the shorter and fatter Andy Ruiz Jr. during AJ's American debut. And although AJ did avenge his loss, many casuals and some boxing insiders argue that AJ ran or fought fearfully during that fight in Saudi Arabia. So, how do you win over your critics, AJ? I will help you with this. Walk with me. In April of this year, you told JD Sports, quote, "As a British heavyweight fighter, we never get the respect from the world media, which is governed by America to a certain degree, because we're British." Do Americans hate on you, AJ, because you're from across the pond? I can't lie, it's possible. Do Americans hate on you for your quick ascension to the throne? Maybe. Or does American sports media outlets hate on you because their invested interests are in promoting your two contemporaries, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder? Bingo. Likely the answer. But nonetheless, boxing fans and analysts alike do overly criticize you at times here in the States. But you didn't do yourself any favors losing to Super Mario at Madison Square Garden the way you did. And although you did win in a get back against Ruiz in a clear, decisive manner, many boxing casuals and AJ critics consider that victory in Saudi Arabia as boring and unimpressive. And the extreme faction of Deontay Wilder supporters consider your performance as running. Even Wilder himself, in an interview with The Athletic, Wilder said, quote, "Joshua did what he had to do to get the win. He ran around the ring and was on his bike all day. Basically, he had Klitschko in the camp, and he was a lot like Klitschko. That jab, grab, hold method. That's all he did tonight. He was so hesitant. Joshua's mentality was to survive. The Klitschko method. You want to dominate the guy, man. I'm not coming in after losing to this guy to just dance and grab and jab and hold. I'm going to show the world and convince them I am the very best and that no one is close to me, especially with what's going on in the division right now. It's a time of proving who is the best." Now, as a Wilder fan, objectively, Wilder should never utter Klitschko's name, seeing he ducked him for all these years. But Wilder's sentiment is shared by many. This is also ironic, seeing that Fury beat Wilder in such convincing fashion during their rematch. But back to you, AJ. It's unfortunate that boxers today aren't respected for creating and executing a technical strategy to get the win. I'm of the belief a win is a win, whether by an inch or a mile. However, this is where you shot yourself in the foot, AJ. Quote, I know that my fans like to see me knock people out, and I could do that, but sometimes with certain fighters, you have to box smarter. I understand what Andy brought to the table, so I had to decapitate him in a different way. A statement that I agree with 1000%. But what happened to the 2015 Anthony Joshua, who criticized Fury's win over Klitschko? Quote, as I always said, if I'm the king of Dubai in the olden days and a different empire comes to take my territory, you don't come and steal my treasure. That's what Fury did, I think. He stole the belts from Klitschko. In a sense, he just boxed and moved. I know it's the art of boxing, but I always said that you come to slay the king. You look him in his face and take what's his. Slay the king, huh? You mean how Andy did to you in the first fight? Did you slay the Mexican heavy D in Saudi Arabia? Or did you pull a Tyson Fury and just stole his treasure? Even Big Baby Juicer called you out on your performance. Now, although Miller has no right to call you or anyone for that matter a hypocrite, Gerald Big Cheetah Miller had a point when he called you a hypocrite. On IG, Miller said, quote, this mofo ran like a Personally, AJ, I don't believe you ran. You utilized your height and reach to your advantage, a strategy you should have exercised in New York. However, the internet is still undefeated for a reason. Your countryman and your least favorite person in England, Dillian White, said, quote, he did exactly what I said he should have done. Make it long and boring. Drag the fight out. Keep moving and keep his jab going. That's how you beat Andy Ruiz. Keep hitting him with the jab. Move around him. He probably could have engaged a bit more at times, but listen, the man just knocked him out. He wanted to get his belts back, so well done to him. Your other countryman, I think, Lennox Lewis, an OG who has criticized you in the past, even he applauded your performance against Ruiz in the rematch. Quote, every fight isn't going to be a KO. I thought AJ fought a good tactical fight and didn't fall into trap of trying to mix it up in exchanges. This was a good addition to his experience. He also wisely unpacked his jab for this one. Some may have forgotten that Lewis utilized the same strategy against the shorter, heavy-handed Samoan David Tua, where he maintained his distance while throwing sharp jabs the entire fight. Quote, I understand that people want blood, but as a fighter, you have to be disciplined enough to wait for the opportunities to open up. Sometimes they don't come. When that happens, you play it safe and stick to the game plan. But like Triple G, after the first Canelo fight, he implied that Canelo was afraid to exchange with him. Then in the rematch, Triple G was the one fighting off the back foot the majority of the fight. AJ, you are Triple G. You criticized Fury for a performance that wasn't so casual fan friendly, and yet you did the very same thing for a guy 6'2", 300 pounds who eats Snickers right before each fight. At least Fury ended the 10-year reign of the most dangerous heavyweight of that time, Vladimir Klitschko. And this isn't to disrespect or downgrade Andy Ruiz Jr.'s talents in the ring at all. I'm simply painting the comparison between your performance against Andy Ruiz Jr. in the rematch to Tyson Fury's performance against Vladimir Klitschko. Listen here, Joshua. If you really want to silence these cheeseburger-eating, gun-toting, the wrong football-watching American xenophobes, you're going to have to walk with your boy. AJ, let me start off by saying you will not get credit for beating Pulev or Usyk. Usyk is a newly appointed heavyweight who hasn't been battle-tested. So even if he defeats Derek Chisora in impressive fashion, your victory against him will be like a senior beating up on a freshman on a school bus. So if you are truly pursuing dominance and American respect, these fights must be on your record before retirement for these haters to put some respect on your name. Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury in the United Kingdom. Salute to all our UK boxing bros. You guys deserve this fight in Wembley Stadium. The fight for undisputed heavyweight dominance. AJ, this will solidify your legacy, defeating the undefeated WBC champion. Earlier this month, Andre Ward on ESPN said, quote, "Anything can happen. This is the heavyweight division. But I just can't see this Anthony Joshua coming off the loss. Even though he won the rematch against Andy Ruiz, he didn't look dominant from the standpoint of being in control. Physically imposing. He's a physically imposing heavyweight, but he moved around like he was the smaller man. That concerned me. The type of momentum that Tyson Fury has right now, I don't see anybody beating him. I just can't see any scenario where Anthony Joshua beats Tyson Fury right now." Look, I won't lie to you, AJ. This will be your most dangerous fight for a number of reasons. 1. Fury is 6'9", unpredictable in the ring with fluid footwork who doesn't fade in later rounds. And also he's a switch hitter. 2. As if the undefeated Tyson Fury didn't need any more confidence. Fury's confidence coming off of an impressive TKO victory against the hard-hitting Deontay Wilder is definitely a confidence booster. 3. Tyson Fury is a post-Andy Ruiz fight for you, meaning you may fear being knocked out again because of your loss in MSG. Although you are the man that went to war with Klitschko, based upon your last performance in Saudi Arabia, I don't know if you still have the killer instinct mentality. To me, again, a win is a win, whether by an inch or a mile, like I said earlier. But a piece of me does question if you only adopted the stick and move style against Ruiz because you feared being KO'd again. In an interview with The Express, Frank Warren said, quote, "Tyson will do to Joshua exactly what he did to Wilder. What people forgot about Fury is that he's got a very strong chin. He's got a great boxing brain. He's got great hand speed. He's got great footwork. He's brave. We've seen him get off the floor. We've seen him do all of that. AJ was terribly exposed against Andy Ruiz Jr. He got absolutely exposed. And in the second fight, Ruiz Jr. was even heavier than he should have been. Totally out of condition. But AJ, this is why I favor you in the Fury fight. 1, you're a great mid-range fighter. Unlike Wilder, you can knock out opponents without the tail end of your punches. You have powerful short hooks and short uppercuts. I like to believe that will deter Fury from mimicking the same strategy he did against Wilder in the rematch. 2, you have sturdier legs and better footwork than Wilder. So Fury will have more of a challenge if he does try to make it a close quarter fight against you. 3, Fury knows you are dangerous with both hands. Your power is felt with both hands. Combine that with your various punch selection, you have a far greater chance of catching Fury than Wilder did. And with a victory over Tyson Fury, the undefeated lineal and WBC champion, you were crowned undisputed. An accomplishment shared by the likes of Tyson, Holyfield, and Lewis. An accomplishment that will solidify you, Joshua, in the history books. Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder at Madison Square Garden. Because New York is Wilder's second home, and Madison Square Garden is the mecca of boxing and the location where you took your first L, this would be a fitting place for your American redemption. This long-awaited rivalry between you two would be epic, even though both of your undefeated records got beaten out of you two. And although Eddie Hearn said if Wilder loses to Fury in the trilogy, you will not give Wilder an opportunity to fight, I think you should reconsider that stance. For the past few years, YouTubers, analysts, and fighters all chimed in and debated. Some even declared allegiance to your team, Team AJ, or Wilder's team, Team Bomb Squad. For all we know, it may not be that deep for you two. It may not even be as personal of a beef as you have with Dillian White or Gerald Miller. But for me, and those who invested in you and Wilder's career, we want to see the final episode of this soap opera. From Wilder publicly saying you're not a true champion and calling you a coward to you calling Wilder a bitch, we got enough to work with to make this a sold-out fight. But I must say this. If Fury decapitates Wilder in the trilogy in a one-sided fight, I hesitate to say you can skip Wilder altogether, especially if you defeat Tyson Fury. As much as I support Wilder, he may go down in history as one of the longest reigning champions who fought no one of mention and who never unified. But if you both lose to Tyson Fury, tell Eddie to get his ass on the next flight to Alabama to make that Wilder fight ASAP. Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte at Wembley Stadium. Joshua Whyte 2 will be the third time you two get in the ring together. In your last fight with Dillian, you were 14-0 and Whyte was 16-0. But since his knockout defeat to you, Dillian has had 11 fights since, with two notable names, a KO finish against Chisora and a decision win against Parker. Now, 28 fights in, Dillian clearly isn't the same guy you fought in 2015. Now, AJ, I get it. I know he called you a drug cheat in the past, and I know he refused to fight Pulev for the IBF Eliminator, and I know he turned down a fight with you last year. But please, give poor Dillian another chance. Whyte has developed a fan base who believes this time around he will defeat you. Sure, anything can happen in the heavyweight division, but personally, I don't see you losing to him. But nonetheless, another Dillian KO would silence a large chunk of your naysayers. So in the wise words of Trill, poor Dillian. Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz Jr., the trilogy in Mexico. Now AJ, whether you accomplish undisputed or not, if you truly want respect from the United States boxing community, you may want to cross the border. Mexican and Mexican Americans are major contributors to United States boxing. Several star boxers and trainers are of Mexican descent, like Julio Cesar Chavez, Juan Manuel Marquez, Oscar De La Hoya, Leo Santa Cruz, Mikey Garcia, and Saul Canelo Alvarez, with trainers like Robert Garcia and Abel Sanchez. Shoot, even the WBC We Be Crooks headquarters is located in Mexico. So as you can see, the Mexican community has bragging rights in the boxing industry. So for you to get your respect, you're going to have to fight the first heavyweight champion of Mexican descent in the heart of Mexico. Mexican boxing fans favor heart, aggression, and power in the ring. Some call it Mexican-style boxing, to seek and destroy your opponent. The stick and move boxing style is cute, but it won't win you any brownie points with most Mexican boxing fans. When you face Andy Ruiz Jr. again in the three-peat, we need the AJ of old again. The one that went to war with Klitschko. The one that stood toe-to-toe against Carlos Takam and Povetkin, both men who are also 6'2". The strategy you used in Saudi Arabia can work only to a degree. Only when Ruiz doesn't give you an opening. But when he does, you have to blast him with the right hand or a deadly combination. This fight, simply put it, has to end in a knockout victory or at the very least a 12-round life or death decision. In closing, AJ, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Dillian Whyte, and Andy Ruiz Jr. are all respected names in this heavyweight division by a diverse pool of boxing fans and industry professionals. You defeat all of them, even your biggest Anthony Joshua hater must bow down and kiss the ring and acknowledge these accomplishments. This is G of Boxing Bros signing out. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, family. Peace.